I was standing in a hospital room about 15 years ago, watching a man I'd known for most of my adult life take his final breaths. He was 63 years old. He'd worked at the same factory for 41 years, good man, paid his bills on time, never caused any trouble. And as I stood there, he looked at me with tears running down his face and said something I'll never forget. "Jim, I never did any of the things I said I was going to do. Not I tried and failed. Not I gave it my best shot." He said he never even tried. He settled. He played it safe. He traded his dreams for a steady paycheck and the approval of people whose names he couldn't even remember anymore. That moment changed everything for me. It made me realize that most people aren't living at all. They're just existing, waiting, postponing, settling for whatever life hands them instead of deciding what they want and going after it. Here's what I've learned. Every single day you wake up, you're making a trade. You're trading a day of your life, a day you will never get back, for something. The question is, what are you trading it for? Are you trading it for progress toward your dreams, or are you trading it for comfort? Are you trading it for growth, or are you trading it for safety? Are you trading it for significance, or are you trading it for the approval of people who aren't even thinking about you? Most people never stop to think about this transaction. They just get up, go through the motions, collect their paycheck, watch some television, and go to bed. Then they do it again tomorrow, and again the day after that. Before they know it, decades have passed, and they wake up one morning wondering where their life went. Let me tell you something that might make you uncomfortable. You have maybe 30,000 days on this earth if you're lucky. 30,000. That sounds like a lot until you start doing the math. If you're 30 years old, you've already used up about 11,000 of them. If you're 40, you've used about 15,000. If you're 50, you're past the halfway point. And here's the tough question. What have you got to show for the days you've already spent? Have you been investing those days or just spending them? Because there's a massive difference between spending your life and investing it. When you spend something, it's gone forever. When you invest something, it grows and multiplies and creates returns. Most people are spending their lives on things that don't matter, on comfort that doesn't last, on the approval of people who don't care, on jobs they don't love, building someone else's dream while their own dreams collect dust on a shelf somewhere. The truth is, mediocrity doesn't announce itself. Nobody wakes up one morning and decides, you know what, I'm going to settle for an average life. I'm going to give up on my dreams and just get by. It doesn't work that way. Mediocrity is sneaky. It creeps in through small compromises. It starts with just this once. It starts with I'll start next week. It starts with I'm too tired today. It starts with I don't have enough time right now. And before you know it, those small compromises become habits, and those habits become your lifestyle, and that lifestyle becomes your destiny. You look back and realize you've been settling for years without even noticing it happen. You want to know why most people settle? Because it's easier. It's easier to do what everyone else is doing than to stand out. It's easier to follow the crowd than to walk your own path. It's easier to make excuses than to make progress. It's easier to blame your circumstances than to change them. It's easier to criticize people who are trying than to try yourself. And here's what really gets me. People will defend their limitations more passionately than they pursue their possibilities. They'll spend more energy explaining why they can't than they would need to spend actually doing. They'll join groups of other people who aren't doing anything just so they can all agree that nothing can be done. It's crazy when you think about it. Let me share something with you that might sting a little. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you hang around 5 broke people, you'll be the 6th. If you hang around 5 negative people, you'll be the 6th. If you hang around 5 people with no ambition, no goals, no drive to improve themselves, guess what? You'll be the 6th. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. You can have all the good intentions in the world, but if you're surrounding yourself with people who are settling, who are complaining, who are making excuses, you're going to start doing the same thing. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And the worst part is, you won't even notice it's happening. You'll just slowly adopt their standards, their habits, their way of thinking, and before you know it, you'll be defending mediocrity just like they are. Here's what most people don't understand. Average feels safe, but it's actually the riskiest place you can be. When you're average, you're replaceable. When you're average, you're vulnerable to every economic shift, every corporate decision, every change in the marketplace. When you're average, you have no leverage, no options, no security. The only real security in life comes from being exceptional at what you do, from developing skills that are valuable, from becoming someone who creates value that other people can't easily replace. But that requires work, that requires discipline, that requires you to do things that average people aren't willing to do. And that's where most people stop. They want the rewards of excellence, but they're only willing to put in average effort. They want to live an extraordinary life, but they're only willing to do ordinary things. It doesn't work that way. So let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. What are you settling for right now that you know you shouldn't be? Where in your life have you compromised? Where have you lowered your standards? Where have you accepted less than what you're capable of? Maybe it's your job, maybe it's your relationships, maybe it's your health, maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your personal growth. Whatever it is, you know what it is. There's something in your life right now where you're tolerating mediocrity, where you're making excuses, where you're settling for less than what you deserve and less than what you're capable of achieving. And every day you let that continue is another day of your one precious life that you're trading for something that doesn't satisfy you, for something that doesn't challenge you, for something that doesn't make you proud. The man I told you about earlier, the one in the hospital, his regret wasn't that he tried and failed. His regret was that he never tried at all. He spent 41 years playing it safe, and in the end, that safety didn't protect him from anything. It just kept him from living. See, there are two types of pain in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. When you choose discipline, you pay the price up front. It's uncomfortable, it's challenging, it requires sacrifice, but the pain is temporary, and the rewards last forever. When you choose the easy path, when you settle, when you compromise, you might avoid discomfort today, but you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of regret, and regret is a heavy burden to carry. It gets heavier every year. It gets heavier every time you see someone else doing what you could have done. It gets heavier every time you think about what might have been if you'd only had the courage to try. Time is the one resource you can never get back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose relationships and build new ones. You can lose your health and recover it. But you can never reclaim a single day once it's gone. Every morning when you wake up, you're given a gift, another day, to make something happen, to move forward, to become better, to take action on your dreams. And every night when you go to bed, that day is gone forever. The question is, what did you trade it for? Did you trade it for Netflix and excuses? Or did you trade it for progress? Did you trade it for complaining about your circumstances? Or did you trade it for changing them? Did you trade it for fitting in with people who are going nowhere? Or did you trade it for becoming someone who inspires others? You know what's interesting about human nature? We'll do almost anything to avoid being uncomfortable. We'll rearrange our entire lives around comfort. We'll give up our dreams, abandon our goals, compromise our values, all to stay in what we call our comfort zone. But here's the irony. That comfort zone isn't comfortable at all. It's just familiar. There's a massive difference. Familiar feels safe even when it's slowly destroying you. Familiar feels easier even when it's making your life harder in the long run. I've watched countless people choose the prison of good enough over the uncertainty of what if, and let me tell you, that prison has invisible bars, but it's a prison nonetheless. Let me tell you about a guy I met years ago. Brilliant guy, had a dream of starting his own business. He talked about it constantly. He had notebooks full of ideas, plans, strategies. He could describe his vision so clearly you could almost see it. But year after year, he stayed at his job. Not because he loved it. He complained about it every time I saw him. Not because it paid well. He was always worried about money. He stayed because it was familiar, because it was predictable, because starting a business meant risk, meant uncertainty, meant he might fail. So he kept saying, next year, Next year turned into 5 years. 5 years turned into 10. Last time I saw him, he was still at that same job, still talking about that dream, still saying someday. But you could see it in his eyes. He knew someday was never coming. He'd chosen comfort over courage so many times that the choice had been made for him. His dreams hadn't died dramatically. They'd just faded away, one compromised day at a time. The truth is, every dream you have comes with a price tag. And you can pay that price up front in discipline, effort, and sacrifice, or you can pay it later in disappointment, regret, and wondering what might have been. But make no mistake, you're going to pay either way. The question is, which price do you want to pay? Do you want to pay the price of waking up early, of studying when you're tired, of practicing when you'd rather relax, of pushing through when it gets hard? Or do you want to pay the price of watching other people live the life you dreamed about? Because those are your options. There's no third choice where you get extraordinary results from ordinary effort. There's no secret shortcut where you can skip the work and still get the rewards. Life doesn't work that way, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can get started on building something meaningful. Here's one of the most important lessons I've learned in life. You cannot harvest in the fall what you didn't plant in the spring. You can't party all summer and expect crops to be waiting for you when the cold weather comes. The laws of nature apply to every area of life. If you want financial security, you have to plant the seeds of financial discipline today. If you want meaningful relationships, you have to plant the seeds of genuine care and attention today. If you want a healthy body when you're older, you have to plant the seeds of good habits right now. But most people want to skip the planting season. They want to skip the cultivating season. They want to skip the watering and weeding and protecting. They just want to show up at harvest time and take what they want. Then they wonder why there's nothing there for them. Let me tell you what I hear all the time. Jim, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough education. I came from the wrong background. I'm too old. I'm too young. The economy is bad. My boss doesn't appreciate me. My spouse doesn't support me. You know what all of those are? Excuses. And excuses are the building blocks of mediocrity. If you want to build a monument to nothing, just keep stacking excuses on top of each other. Every successful person I've ever met had the same challenges. They didn't have enough time either. They made time. They didn't have enough money either. They started with what they had. They didn't have the perfect background or education either. They educated themselves. The difference wasn't their circumstances. The difference was their response to their circumstances. You don't need to have it all figured out to get started. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need everyone's approval. You don't need a guarantee of success. You just need to start. You need to take the first step with the resources you have right now, from where you are right now. And then you take another step and another. Because here's what happens when you start taking action. Resources appear. Opportunities show up. People notice. Doors open. But none of that happens while you're sitting around waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. The perfect conditions will never come. The only thing that's guaranteed is that if you keep waiting, you'll keep getting the same results you've been getting. Let me share something that changed my life when I finally understood it. Life asks all of us to choose between the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. When you choose discipline, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get up early when your bed is warm. It's hard to exercise when you're tired. It's hard to save money when there's something you want to buy. It's hard to study when your friends are out having fun. It's hard to practice your craft when no one is watching or caring. But that hardness is temporary. That pain is productive. It's building something. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're becoming stronger, more capable, more skilled, more valuable. You're planting seeds that will grow into the life you actually want. But when you choose comfort over discipline, when you choose easy over necessary, you might feel better in the moment, but you're setting yourself up for massive pain later. The pain of looking at your bank account and realizing you're not where you should be. The pain of looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person staring back at you. The pain of watching opportunities pass you by because you're not prepared. The pain of watching other people succeed at things you could have done if you'd only been willing to pay the price. That pain doesn't just hurt, it haunts you. It wakes you up at 3 in the morning. It follows you around. It gets worse with time instead of better. Here's a small example. Let's say you read 10 pages of a good book every day. Just 10 pages. That's nothing, right? Takes maybe 15 minutes. Easy to do. But it's also easy not to do. If you don't read those 10 pages today, nothing catastrophic happens. Your life doesn't fall apart. So most people don't do it. They choose the easy path of not reading. But here's what happens over time. 10 pages a day is about a book every 2 weeks. That's 26 books a year. Over 10 years, that's 260 books. Can you imagine how different your life would be if you'd read 260 books on success, on business, on relationships, on personal development? You'd be a completely different person. You'd have knowledge that most people don't have. You'd have insights that most people never gain. You'd have skills that most people never develop, all from 15 minutes a day of discipline. But here's the other side. If you don't read those 10 pages, and you make that choice every day for 10 years, what have you lost? 260 books worth of knowledge, 260 opportunities to grow, 10 years of potential development gone. And for what? For 15 minutes of comfort every day? For watching a little more television? For scrolling through social media a little longer? When you look at it that way, the price of comfort is astronomical. You're trading your future for momentary ease. You're trading the person you could become for the comfort of staying who you are. And this applies to everything. Want to lose weight? It's easy to skip one workout. It's easy to eat that piece of cake. But skip enough workouts and eat enough cake, and 5 years from now, you're carrying an extra 50 pounds and wondering how it happened. Want to build wealth? It's easy to skip saving this month. It's easy to make that impulse purchase. But skip enough savings and make enough impulse purchases, and 20 years from now, you're financially stressed and wondering where all the money went. Want better relationships? It's easy to skip that difficult conversation. It's easy to neglect the people who matter. But skip enough conversations and neglect enough people, and you wake up one day feeling alone and wondering why no one is there for you. See, success and failure aren't these big dramatic events. They're the result of simple daily decisions repeated over time. Failure is a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. The difference between the two is almost invisible in the moment, but over time, it's massive. The problem is, because the difference is invisible in the moment, most people choose comfort. They think, what difference does it make if I skip today? And you're right, it doesn't make a difference today, but it makes all the difference over time. Think about it like this. If you're on an airplane heading to New York and the pilot adjusts the course by just 1 degree, you might not notice any difference right away. You'll still see the same clouds out the window. The flight will still feel the same. But hours later, when you should be landing in New York, you'll end up in a completely different city, maybe even a different country. That's what small daily choices do to your life. Every day you choose comfort over discipline, you're adjusting your course by a degree or two. In the moment, it doesn't seem to matter. But years down the road, you end up in a completely different place than where you wanted to be. So here's my question for you. What small discipline could you practice every day that would make a massive difference in your life over time? What simple error in judgment are you repeating every day that's slowly taking you away from where you want to be? Because if you can identify those things and make a decision to change them, you can change everything. Not overnight, not dramatically, but consistently, powerfully, inevitably. The person who can discipline themselves in small things will eventually be able to discipline themselves in big things. The person who makes excuses for small failures will eventually make excuses for big failures. Which one are you going to be? Now, let me tell you something that took me years to understand, but changed everything once I got it. You've got to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Most people spend 8, 10, 12 hours a day working on their job, building someone else's dream, making someone else rich, and they spend 0 time working on themselves. Then they wonder why their life isn't changing. Here's why. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Not just financially, but in every area that matters. When you grow, everything in your life grows with you. Your income can grow only to the extent that you do. Your relationships can improve only to the extent that you improve. Your opportunities expand only as far as your capabilities expand. Personal development isn't some luxury activity for people who have extra time. It's the foundation of everything. It's not what happens to you that determines your future. It's what happens in you. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. You can't change the economy, but you can change your skills. You can't change what happened to you in the past, but you can change how prepared you are for the future. And the way you do that is simple. You read, you listen, you learn, you practice, you grow. I've met people who say they can't afford to buy books. Let me tell you, the cost of not learning is far greater than the price of any book. A book might cost you $20, but the ideas in that book could be worth $20 million if you apply them. When I was 25 years old and broke, someone challenged me to spend more money on personal development than I spent on entertainment. That was hard to hear because I didn't have much money for either one. But I made a decision that day. I started reading every book I could get my hands on. I listened to every tape program I could find. I went to seminars, even when I had to borrow money to get there. And you know what happened? Within 5 years, my income had increased tenfold. Not because the economy got better. Not because I got lucky. Because I got better. I developed skills that were more valuable. I learned how to think differently. I surrounded myself with people who challenged me to grow. The investment I made in myself paid dividends that I'm still collecting today. But here's what most people don't do. They don't set goals. They drift through life hoping things will get better instead of making a plan to make things better. Hope is not a strategy. Wishing is not a plan. You've got to decide what you want. Write it down. Make it specific. Make it measurable. Give yourself a deadline. Then work backwards from that goal to figure out what you need to do today, this week, this month to make it happen. Your goals should be clear enough that a stranger could read them and know exactly whether you achieved them or not. Not, I want to be successful. That's too vague. What does success mean to you? How much money? By when? Doing what? With whom? Get specific. And here's something crucial. You need a personal philosophy. A set of guiding principles that direct your decisions when nobody's watching. Your philosophy is how you think about life, about work, about money, about relationships, about responsibility. And your philosophy determines everything that follows. It determines your attitude, and your attitude determines your actions, and your actions determine your results. If your philosophy is life is hard and then you die, you'll have a very different life than someone whose philosophy is life is full of opportunities for those who are prepared. If your philosophy is rich people are greedy, you'll never become wealthy because you won't want to become what you despise. If your philosophy is I'm a victim of my circumstances, you'll never take responsibility for changing those circumstances. Let me give you a philosophy that has served me well. Learn to be happy with what you have while you pursue what you want. Don't wait until you reach your goals to be satisfied with your life. Enjoy the process. Celebrate the small wins. Appreciate where you are while working toward where you're going. Because if you can't be happy with what you have, you won't be happy with what you get. The finish line keeps moving for people who haven't learned to enjoy the race. And here's another one. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. Because the problems aren't going to go away. Life is going to keep challenging you. The economy will fluctuate. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall through. But if you keep developing yourself, you'll be able to handle whatever comes your way. You'll turn obstacles into opportunities. You'll find solutions where others see only problems. Now, about the people you associate with, this is critical. You cannot hang around negative people and expect to have a positive life. You cannot spend your time with people who have no ambition and expect to stay ambitious yourself. You've got to be selective. You've got to guard your associations like they're gold, because they are. The people you spend time with are either lifting you up or dragging you down. There's no neutral. They're either adding to your life or taking from it. And if you're the smartest person in your group, you need a new group. You need to find people who are ahead of where you are, people who challenge you, people who make you uncomfortable because they're operating at a level you're trying to reach. Here's the final thing about designing your life. You can't change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction. If you don't like where you're headed, change direction today. Not next week, not next year. Today, start reading different books. Start having different conversations. Start making different choices. Start spending your time differently. Because every day you keep heading in the wrong direction is another day further from where you want to be. Turn the ship around now, even if you can't see the shore yet. Trust that if you keep heading in the right direction long enough, you'll eventually arrive at the right destination. So here's where we get down to it. All the philosophy in the world, all the knowledge, all the good intentions, they mean absolutely nothing without action. You've got to start. Not someday. Not when conditions are perfect. Not when you feel ready. Today. Right now. This moment. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. If you're sloppy with small things, you'll be sloppy with big things. If you procrastinate on minor tasks, you'll procrastinate on major opportunities. If you make excuses for little failures, you'll make excuses for big failures. Your life is nothing more than the accumulation of how you handle each individual moment, and mediocrity in those moments leads to mediocrity in life. Let me tell you what's really happening every single day. Small errors in judgment repeated every day lead to disaster. Small disciplines practiced every day lead to success. That's it. That's the whole formula. Missing one workout won't ruin your health, but missing workouts consistently for a year will. Skipping one day of learning won't make you ignorant, but skipping learning consistently will leave you unprepared for opportunities. Making one poor financial decision won't bankrupt you, but making poor financial decisions repeatedly will keep you broke forever. The slight edge works both ways. It can work for you or against you, but it's always working. So what do? First, get brutally honest about where you are right now. Not where you wish you were, not where you tell people you are, where you actually are. Look at your bank account. Look at your relationships. Look at your health. Look at your skills. Face reality without sugarcoating it. Second, decide with clarity where you want to go. Write it down. Make it specific. Third, count the cost and commit to paying it. No complaining. No looking for shortcuts. Just commit to doing what needs to be done for as long as it needs to be done. Fourth, find people who have done what you want to do and learn from them. Model their thinking, their habits, their disciplines. Fifth, take action every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And when you fail, wonder, because you will fail. Don't let failure define you. Let it refine you. Failure is feedback. It's education. It's information about what doesn't work so you can adjust and try something different. The only real failure is giving up. Everything else is just learning. Measure your progress, make adjustments, and keep moving forward. This is your one life, not a practice run, not a dress rehearsal. This is it. These are your days, and once they're gone forever. So let me ask you, what would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? Whatever answer came to your mind, that's what you should be working on. That's your calling. That's your assignment. And you already have everything you need to begin. You might not have everything you need to finish, but you have everything you need to start. And starting is what separates dreamers from doers. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop making excuses. Stop settling for less than what you're capable of. Your life is waiting for you to claim it. The question is, will you? Will you reject mediocrity starting today? Will you commit to becoming more than you've been? Will you finally pay the price that your dreams are asking you to pay? Because I'm telling you right now, you can do this. You can build the life you want, but only if you start. only if you commit, only if you refuse to settle for anything less than your best. The clock is ticking. Make these days count.